Hello everybody and welcome. I'm Matt, Director of Client Success here at White House Custom Color, and before we start chatting with Kim, I just want to make a couple announcements. If you haven't subscribed to our WHCC YouTube, make sure and do that so you get notification for cool events like we're going to be having today. Follow along on Instagram at WHCC Pro, and for all of your product-related questions, all the options, the cool things that WHCC has to offer, jump on WHCC.com, check out the product line, also the amazing new wall designer, the album designer, the press card designer, all the fun things that WHCC has to offer. So, without further ado, hello Kim.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, we're so glad you're here. So for people that are tuned in listening today, and for people that are going to be watching the recording that haven't heard of you or don't know anything about Kimberly Kracun, tell us about you. Where are you from, your studio, like that kind of stuff?
Well, my business name is Photo Fixation Photography,
Yep.
and we are located in the Elizabeth area, Elizabeth Township of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
That is southwest of Pennsylvania, so I'm about 40 minutes southeast of Pittsburgh.
Okay, cool. Beautiful part of the country. Lots of bridges.
Lots of bridges. City of bridges.
If you haven't driven through Pittsburgh, there's one specific bridge that you have to make a decision on which way you're going, and if you make the wrong decision, it's bad.
It's bad.
It's bad. And primarily, like, at your studio, what do you like to photograph?
I am primarily a high school senior photographer.
Okay.
I do a little bit of headshots and families still, and I'm dabbling into a little bit of volume.
Awesome, very cool. And I just have to compliment you. You have been nice enough to let us print some of your albums and such for the WHCC Expo booth for the last few years, and they're just stunning. Your images are just gorgeous, and you can obviously tell on the wall behind us here.
I love to see them out there.
Yeah, and this is just a smidgen. And when we ask for images for these, you know, sometimes it's pulling teeth to get like 10 or 12. You sent me like 200, and they're all stunning, which is phenomenal.
Thank you.
So, question for the crowd, who here really enjoys social media? Does anybody really, truly enjoy social media? Do you enjoy social media?
I mean, I do, but there are times when, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot, and you can get lost in social media so easily these days, and it tends to take our, what used to be TV time, and now it's our just social media time.
I'm always astonished when I look at my phone when it sends me that report on Sunday of how many hours per day on average I'm on my phone. I'm like, really?
I bypass that.
Like how is that possible?
Know.
You know, and I'm trying to be much more intentional, which is where we're really going to go with this conversation today. So when you and I were talking about content for today's live, I was very impressed about your approach to social media, and that's why we decided to push the conversation that way. Because I know that a lot of photographers spend a lot of time on social media, and they're doing a lot of work without the return. And there's no way to really measure that return, and it's like throwing a bunch of things at the wall and hoping something sticks. You have a different approach.
I do.
So let me start with a question, if that's okay.
Okay.
And we both know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Can you actually monetize and get clients from social media?
Absolutely.
Okay. So how do you do that, and how do you find the people that you're going out and really specifically looking for?
Well, when I first started utilizing Instagram, I was pretty intentional about it, and it has carried me, you know, the past few years doing it this way. So I look at it as a way to connect with the teens, and I follow the seniors. I wait for them to follow me back, and it just has been a game changer with bringing the people to me.
Yeah. Now, I think the magic here, I'm not going to interrupt you, but I'm going to interrupt you anyway, because we'll do that today. The secret of how are you finding them? I think that's the thing. That's the thing that I really want to talk about, because you're going out and you're following, they're following you back, but you're very specifically not targeting, it's a terrible word, but you're finding that crowd that you need to get in touch with.
So once I have some seniors, following me. So say I'm scrolling and I see a senior that I either know or I know is a current class of, say, 2027 senior.
Yep.
Or maybe it's a senior that I just come across that I didn't know I was following or they were following me. I just scroll through, if they have a few pictures, or I see if they have anybody tagged in their pictures. Are their friends in the pictures? And I then will follow their friends. So I'm looking at their profile. And if you don't know, most seniors or most high school kids will put their class in their bio. So that is an indication right there of, are they a target client?
Right.
So I scroll through, I look, I will friend their friends, and then I leave it at that. You could go a step further, and if you are looking to book, this is a period of booking, you can write down those names, Instagram handles, and possibly even DM them if they follow you back. Hey, I'm scheduling class of 2027. If you're interested in seeing your pictures,
keep me in
reply
mind.
back.
Yep.
So the prime times to do that is when there are things happening in the schools, like prom. They're getting pictures with all of their friends.
Yeah.
And, they have 10, 12 kids in those pictures, and there's all their friends.
Yep.
They're all tagged in the pictures. Another good time is sports pictures. They're getting their sports, it's softball season, and they have their whole team, and they're taking their own little selfies, and with this friend, that friend, and so there they are. They're right there in front of you. Why not follow them?
Right. So when we were talking and you were explaining that to me, immediately I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds like hours and days and months of work. But you do it in a very simple fashion.
It's very unintentional. So intentional but unintentional. It's more when I'm scrolling. So some days I might just find a couple. Other days I might hit the jackpot and there's, a ton right there, which you have to be careful, because if you're following too many kids in one day, Instagram will put a stop to it. So I don't even know what that number is. I want to say something like 30.
Per day.
It starts to think like you're a bot or something, and it'll just cut you off.
Now, are you specifically working with Instagram, or are you using other platforms too?
I use Instagram, Facebook, and I dabble a little in TikTok.
Okay.
I actually got my first client from TikTok this year. They have found me on TikTok, so I've actually booked 2 people from TikTok this year. But when that first one came in, I was like, oh, this is working. So that was a nice perk this year. But primarily, it's the kids that find me on Instagram that then take it to their parents and say, I want this photographer.
Yeah, this is where I want to go. And you're drawing from quite a radius around you.
That is right.
Yeah.
I have about a 2-hour radius circle right around my studio that I pull from.
Yeah.
Parts of Ohio, West Virginia, in the Pittsburgh area, up to like the Mars area, which is like Seneca Valley, just in everything in between.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's really a feather in your cap too, because seeing your images, and your interactions, to have somebody get in the car and drive 2 hours one direction, that's pretty.
And they're not just doing it once; they're doing it 3 times. So
wow, that's awesome. Get a lot of windshield time.
Right.
So you kind of answered this already, but how are you going out and finding the seniors online? Like, and how do you know? And I'm assuming that a lot of it comes from the profile, but I can remember on the call when we were talking, you said every once in a while you come across a page.
Oh, yes.
And can you explain that?
So there are different kinds of pages I look at. So there might be a sports, page on Instagram. That's the high school boosters for soccer or high school boosters for softball. There are parents in there, the students are in there, but the classes actually have their own pages. So the class of 2027, the class of 2028, for the school districts make their own page. So right there you have all the kids that are now following the class of 2028 of Elizabeth Ford School District or whatever school district, and they're all right there.
Right.
Follow.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, back in the day, and for those of you that have watched, stuff with me before, I've been in the industry for a long time, and I can remember, when we would send out mail pieces and things, prior to the social media being so popular, you could feel pretty accomplished if you got a 3% return. That'd be pretty darn awesome, but usually you weren't at 3%. When you and I were talking and you were telling me your numbers and your conversion rate, you're at about a 20% conversion on this work you're putting in. That's incredible.
I actually looked last night to check it out. In the past 30 days, I had 85 follows.
Okay.
And I booked, how many did I say? I've had 5 inquiries and I've booked 3 of them.
Okay.
So
that's a little bit less than 20%, but based on your numbers from last year, like your year over year, that's what your numbers were.
Yeah, so just in the last 30 days, but I even looked, I did a series over the past 10 days, which was like booking with me, like what to expect.
Yeah, I've been watching that.
And
I like your font you're using.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We'll get into that a little bit more. But what I did with that, that was actually, I'm not getting a lot of interaction from the teens on those ones, but I'm having people look at them.
Yeah.
So in the past 10 days, the 2 of the people booked with me just in the last 10 days from seeing those 10 posts.
Okay.
So the one lady said to me, I saw your post yesterday and I read it and I thought, I better book. And she called me right up.
And when those are going through my feed now, I'm like, oh, that's Kim. That's Kim. Because it's very recognizable, which is great. It's very consistent. Yeah, for sure. So if you were going to, spitball about how much time you're investing in finding, a particular class, do you have any idea?
I don't.
No?
I don't. I like I said, I don't spend time doing it, like setting aside time to do it. It's basically in a scroll.
Okay.
So in a scroll time, I might find something and I just take a few minutes and do it, and then I jump off because, like I said, I don't want to follow too many kids at one time.
Right.
And I might revisit it if I think about it the next day or something and just say, oh, I'm going to go back to that page and follow a few more kids. And that's really about it. You don't have to spend a ton of time.
Right.
But when you're on there and you see it, it's worth taking the few minutes to look.
Well, and that keeps it not monotonous too. If you, and your husband's in the room here, but I'm sure if you sat down and you're like, Jason, today, I'm going to sit on my phone for 10 hours and find all these people, he'd be like, okay, I'll catch you later, and that would make that just a terrible task. But, we all spend times on our phones,
right.
Whether we even realize it or not sometimes, and instead of just doom scrolling, actually putting it to a purpose.
Make it a little intentional.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then having that return,
right.
That's fantastic. So a couple of questions that I think people are going to want to know. Do you have, like on a yearly basis, do you ever unfollow? Do you ever kind of go through a recalibration of the group you're following? Like, how do you handle that?
I don't specifically go in and just start unfollowing. maybe I should. But when I unfollow people, it's usually when I'm scrolling and I see a senior that I've never photographed posting senior portraits or senior pictures.
Yep.
They're not really, a hot item for me anymore, so I unfollow them. They can continue to follow me.
Yep.
And that's where I leave it. Or if I've missed them and they're posting college pictures, unfollow.
Right.
If it's not somebody that I've photographed. Now, the seniors that I have photographed, I continue to follow them.
Yeah.
We
Just
have
to
built a
keep that
relationship.
interaction going.
I like to see what they're doing. I always comment on their pictures, or if they're doing something fun, I still stay in touch.
Yeah, for sure. So people who are listening to this, and I had the same questions when we were talking, it's a fine line of following along, interacting, and not being creepy. Let's just call it what it is. We don't want to be creepy about this. How do you manage that?
Well, being a female, I have the unfair advantage of being able to message females.
Yep.
So when I follow, I don't normally follow senior guys or high school boys.
Okay.
Not that I don't want to photograph them. As a female, I don't want to say it's creepy, but it's just not really my target. I focus more on the girls because that's primarily what I'm photographing anyways. And I will like their pictures, but if it's not somebody that I know, I won't comment. If it's somebody that I know, I comment. Okay. But they look to see who's liking their picture, so that they see me there.
Right.
So
again, for everybody that's listening along, it's very intentional what you're doing. You're not just throwing things at the wall and hoping they stick. You're literally going after, if I can be that blunt, after a certain group of people, and you're being very intentional about it, but not creepy. Just inserting yourself enough to make sure that you're getting into their feed. All those kinds of things.
Yep, and they know that you're there. That's the one thing people think. Do they even know I'm liking their post? Yes, they know you're liking.
Right.
They know you're liking the post.
Yep.
I've had seniors, after I've liked their prom pictures, the next day they're submitting a contact form to me.
Yeah.
So
isn't it amazing? Just
it's
one
amazing.
little click.
It's one little click, and they know you're there.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. So hashtags. I can remember back in the day when I first started playing with Instagram, it was 25 hashtags, and all the things. And I know the limits have changed for that. How do you handle that, and keywords and AI and all that interaction now?
I am no expert. I only know what's being put out there by people that are the experts. And I follow quite a few of those pages where they make recommendations, and that's what I'm following. I do a little bit of research. I do, ask AI, but I primarily use the same hashtags. I might vary them a little bit here and there, but I only use 5. They've really cut it back. I used to use a ton, and I cut it back and I use more keywords now. So I'm using between 5 and 8 keywords, and I try to focus them more on my area. Pittsburgh senior photographer, Pittsburgh senior photos, Pittsburgh seniors, class of 2027. That's a general one, but you want to throw that out there because the kids are posting their class year. So, and Instagram and TikTok, they will localize that to you, so you're showing up on the For You page for the kids in your area, or whatever. So I do utilize both keywords and hashtags, but I stick to 5 with the hashtags on both Instagram and TikTok. Now, I will note that my Instagrams are I just post to Instagram and let it post into Facebook. So I don't keep them separate or do it at separate times. I just post into Instagram, let it repost into Facebook, and
okay. So the $1 million question, and I think this is the one that people struggle with the most, is like what should the schedule be? How often do you need to be posting, and staying consistent. Like, and I know that we could put 100 photographers in a room.
They're
and
going to say 20 different things.
Yeah, and there would be almost 100 different answers. But you're here, you're the expert. Tell us what you think that schedule should be.
I'll tell you what works for me.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, Instagram will tell you when your followers are on most.
Okay.
So if you ever look at your weekly recap, it'll tell you in the very last recap post when your followers are on most. So mine are Monday, Tuesday, and Sundays from 6 to 9. Okay. So if you were only going to post 3 times a week, that would be when you should be posting. Okay. However, I really try to post every day. Now in my slower season, sometimes I get distracted, and that doesn't always happen like in the February, March.
An artist
family
gets distracted?
Family things are going on, or I just need to just take a break for a little bit, or we're busy doing things. So, I might slack off a little bit, but when you get into like the May, June, July, August, and you need to book, and right now I'm booked up through, the end of August, so I have openings still in September and October. I want to get those filled, so I'm posting. I'm putting that out there every day. And if you're photographing if you're photographing 20 seniors or more a year, you have enough content to post all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Use what's in your camera, your videos, your B-roll, your photos, make carousels, make reels. Just keep posting, and they'll see it. Don't be afraid to repeat things, because they're not seeing it every day.
Right.
Some are, but it's repeatable.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because Lucas, our amazing video producer here at White House, he says that a lot. He's like, just because you used it once doesn't mean you can't use it again. You can reuse and recycle that content. Because the assumption I'm afraid from a lot of people is like, you put it out there once, everybody's seen it, they don't want to see it again. Well, that's not true.
That's right.
So to be able to recycle that and change it and use it again, that's fantastic.
And ideally, when it comes to posting, if you're primarily in the same niche, and you're doing the same things every year, keep track of your posts and repurpose them every year at the same time. Like, why are you reinventing the wheel every time you post? Use what you used last year.
Yeah.
And throw it into AI. It might change the wording a little bit, but it's the same content.
So I know another thing that gets talked about a ton is the perfectionism of the posts and the stories and all this stuff. What is your take on that?
Just put it out there.
Just get it out there.
Get it out there.
Get it done.
Yeah. The kids these days aren't into everything being perfect. Okay. Now, what you saw the last 10 days on my Instagram, if you go look at it, it was a little more polished, and not a whole lot of likes, but I might post a reel that I didn't edit barely at all, and it get 200 likes, or more. And you're like, wow,
right.
I didn't put any time into that at all.
Easy.
And, they just want to see what you're doing. Like in your stories, they're raw, they're real. They want to see what you're doing every day. They're not focused on it being perfect. And if they can relate to you, and they feel like they know you, they're going to call on you when it's time to, get senior pictures.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so important if you're putting things into social media, which we all are now. If you get busy or you get slow and you get distracted and you don't put something out there for a month, people assume that you're gone or something's wrong or you're out of business or things like that. So to stay consistent is very, very important, and to not focus on the perfect.
Right.
Because the details will drive you crazy. I know that because I'm very detailed more.
Backing up to the original question, how often should you post? I think it's just your own consistency. So if posting every day is too much for you, pick 3 days a week, focus on being 3 days a week, and get it done.
And do it. So I don't want to get too far away from your recent posts, your 10 posts, and the consistency, the font, all that stuff. Tell us a little bit more about that, because they are very recognizable and they're very simple.
Those are made in Canva, and I had people inquiring asking the same questions. So for me, I'm like, I think I need to address this, because then I can send them to my highlights, which that's why I did the series, to add to my highlights, and which most people don't use. They don't utilize that enough, the highlights. And they can go in and they can read what happens from the time I inquire to the time that I'm done. So, you know, as I've already said, I've had a couple people message me or inquire just from me putting it out there. So, those posts themselves, the first one was a little bit longer, but I have to give the credit to one of my summer interns who is helping me design them. And I come up with the captions and she helped design them in Canva. And, you know, it took her a little longer to get it right the first time, but as she kept going, you know, it was a little faster. So once you start making the templates, you know, and you reuse them, it doesn't take long at all.
Right, and you're taking that series from direct questions that you were getting from clients. So stuff that you're hearing quite a bit, like I'm gonna take this. I'm not just gonna spitball of like what do I think they want to know. It's like these are legit most asked questions.
Yeah, what happens? You know, how do I inquire? What happens after I inquire? How do I book? And it's right there. Yeah,
and it's like that's comforting to people. I mean, anytime you get photographed. You know, for seniors, for weddings, for families, it's stressful. You know, it's fun for the client, but it's also, there's a lot of build up to it. It's the outfits, it's the hair, it's the nails, it's all the things. So to be able to look at your highlights and be like, okay, now I know what to expect from this person. I can kind of set that to the side and worry about these other things. That's really, really good thinking. Yeah.
Next series is going to be what to wear.
There you go.
The kids just overthink it, and I did this 2 years ago, and if anybody wants to go back and look, it's 2 years ago, but those were just thrown together very fast. I will admit I did not spend very much time. They could have been way better. However, the information got put out there. It was usable. People commented on it. They noticed them, and that's what matters. And so I'm going to do the series again and make it a little more polished this time, because I have a little bit of help this year. And we'll go from there. We're going to answer some more questions.
For sure. So social media is one part of the way that you advertise and market. Can we talk a little bit about your senior team and kind of how you do that in your cover contest and everything?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll just let you kind of explain how you're working with that group, and then I'll just interject questions along the way.
Okay, so my senior team started off more as an application where it seemed exclusive and exciting, and I've kind of like veered away from that a little bit, whereas they still submit an application of interest. However, I present it as an opportunity for an upgrade to their senior experience. I've found that people don't apply because they think they're not going to be accepted.
Okay, makes sense.
So or this isn't a good fit for, I don't think this is going to be a good fit for my daughter, you know, because of, you know, you pick XYZ, all these beautiful people. So I now make it an application of interest, and once they submit that application, I contact them, let them know that everybody that is part of it is a regular client, and they're choosing to upgrade their session to the team experience, which is a full-year experience.
Yeah, you do a lot of stuff with them.
I do. I guarantee 4 extra shoots, but we do more than that. And that's just in case something happens in my life that I can't commit to more than 4. I know I can guarantee 4. So we do a meet and greet at the beginning of the year where we do studio pictures, and we kind of just have fun. It's a little party. Everybody gets to know each other, and we pick a theme, you know, and we have fun and do the photos. Then we do a spring shoot. So before my busy season actually starts, We will do the spring shoot. Actually, we just had that right before I came.
Okay.
So we did Americana theme at an old barn, and that will be considered their spring shoot. Now, I photographed them. One of their requirements is that they book over the summer before school starts.
Okay.
And the reason I do that is because I like to get my summer booked, so that helps me to book my fall.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And most of them are happy to do that. So with that, those that want the fall pictures, we do a fall session.
Okay.
So we do a fall team session at the end of October. That way we get the pretty fall foliage. And then after that, I guarantee their cap and gown pictures.
Okay.
Now, in between there, we still do a Christmas party, something Christmas themed or New Year's themed. And then in those winter months, we will have fun doing some things either in the snow or in the studio. And usually when I go to a conference or something like that, I come home and I want to try something new,
Right, yeah.
new lighting, or I might have found a new location that I want to try out once the snow is gone.
Right.
I pull from
And
my
in
team.
Pennsylvania, you get a lot of snow.
We get a lot of snow.
We get that here
a lot
too.
Of, a lot of the weather.
Yeah.
But, you know, it just gives me people that I can pull from to be able to do those fun things. And they know what to expect. They're comfortable with me. I'm comfortable with them. And they don't mind waiting around or if I'm fumbling with equipment or something like that. They're fine with it.
So then how does that filter into social media and drive people to your accounts?
So my seniors are not required to post those pictures or repost.
But I'm guessing they do.
They do.
Yeah.
I ask them to, but they're not required to. They do because they're fun. They know they're helping me out.
Yep.
So they're reposting, they're posting in their stories, which more seniors I feel these days post to their stories. They love the group photos, so they're more inclined to post the group photos.
Okay.
And so their friends are seeing those posts, and then they're inquiring with me, or they're following me.
Right.
And then I follow back.
Got it. So how does the cover contest enter into this?
The cover contest is actually opened to all of my seniors, not just my senior
Not
team.
just the senior team, okay.
So I give every senior the opportunity to win another session with me, which is a spring, smaller, like a mini session.
Okay.
And a lot of senior photographers do this now. It's a fun way to get engagement and for other people to see your work.
Yep.
And it has gotten so big the last few years. The parents are so involved with it, and it has kind of exploded. So I used
In a good way.
In a good way.
Yes.
I used to only do it on Instagram, but a couple years ago, I'm like, I'm gonna also put this on Facebook, and that's where the parents really got involved. So it gets shared to, you know, all of the mom groups, and you can see it's going to the booster groups. Help, you know. Shelly needs your votes, and she plays softball, so everybody in the booster club is voting for Shelly. And then those are more people seeing the work. So every senior gets the opportunity. I put their picture on a magazine cover, and we post them up into Instagram in the stories and in a Facebook post.
Okay.
I have rules for it, and then it runs for 24 hours. I cut it off at 24 hours. I count the votes, and you know the top half move on to round 2. I usually do 3 rounds.
Okay.
And then when we get to the finalists, I do a live and announce who the winner is.
Cool.
And then that winner gets to be the cover and the inside cover of my senior magazine, my senior welcome magazine. And they also get their, you know, their complimentary session.
That's super cool. So the first round is 24 hours, and then second round is the same thing.
24 hours.
Okay, and then the third run, and then you go live at the end.
Yeah, and it's cutthroat.
Yeah, I can
last
imagine.
Round is cutthroat.
I bet.
I get tons of new followers from that.
I bet.
Tons and tons of new followers.
That's cool. And again, I hope that everybody understands, you know, like you're putting work into this, but it's not consuming your whole life and soul.
No, and I do it in a
this.
downtime.
Yeah.
So that's in a downtime as well. It's getting ready to start the new season. So it's usually in January that I'm doing it. That's a pretty dead time for me. And then I start recruiting senior team and opening up my calendar.
Start over again.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, this has been fantastic, Kim. Your approach and the simplistic side of how you're doing this, I think, is fantastic.
Thank you.
So, for people who would like to check out your work, your page, your website, all the things, can you tell people where to find you?
At Photo Fixation Photography.
Okay.
On Instagram and Facebook and TikTok.
Okay. Awesome.
And it's FOTO, FIXATO.
Absolutely.
So
and your
try
logo,
to be a little different.
And your logo is super cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So before we go, I just want to talk a little bit about this beautiful album that's laying next to me here. So part of coming to the lab, and we're honored to have you here today, it was so nice what you said earlier, is you get to watch your products be made. You arrived yesterday, you came in this morning, and our albums team worked with you, and you got to see this beautiful album being created and meet the team that created it.
Loved it.
Let's just kind of page through here. Now this is a combo cover, and it has the new soft pink premium leather option, which is super cool. We have your custom die inside the front end sheet here, which is gorgeous, and then just paging through your beautiful work inside of here. So, and this afternoon, you're going to watch an acrylic block being done, and then we're doing a whole portrait canvas frame piece. You get to see, meet the team that does all that for you. So, it's always a really cool experience to have people come and visit us.
I love it.
And meet the team, see the products, do all the fun things. So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. It's been a great experience.
Yeah, and your work is just gorgeous. I kind of want to keep this for us.
Well,
but we won't. I'll send it with you. But so thank you very much for this. This is fantastic. We really hope that you've enjoyed our chat with Kim. And if you do have questions that you want to ask her via the chat on here or in the questions or the comments, feel free to put that stuff in here. We know where to find her.
Yeah.
So, and before we go, if you would like to follow along with the YouTube from WHCC, I would definitely suggest that. Also on Instagram at WHCC Pro, and again for all of your product details, the online design tools for the wall designer, elm designer, and press car designer, check out WHCC.com. I'm Matt, this is Kim Kracun, and we hope you've enjoyed this segment with us today.
Thank you.